Good afternoon, everyone. It looks like most everyone's already logged in, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Colton Haney. I'm a Senior MEP Technical Specialist here at ATG, and today I want to show you guys the View Creator tool offered by CTC and kind of go through some of the workflows that you can leverage to quickly generate your project views and kind of speed up that process a little bit. Before I get started, I do want to go ahead and say, ask your questions whenever. I'll see them rolling into the chat, or you can put them in the question and answer dialog box there. And if I can, I'll answer them as they come up. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So in this presentation, I'd like to discuss the pain points of manually creating views in Revit projects, kind of your typical workflow that you would follow without using these tools. And then we'll take a look at View Creator and kind of look at what it is and what it can do. We'll learn how the View Creator user interface works. I'll walk you through that. And then we'll actually use the tool to quickly generate a bunch of different types of views. So first, let's talk about that, the pain points of creating views with your typical workflow. It's manual, it's tedious, and it's time consuming, especially if you have large projects. Even relatively small projects require a lot of views for all disciplines, not just architecture, not just MEP, not just structural, but all of them require a lot of views generated throughout your project. And usually it's not just at the beginning of the project. You usually actually have to create views multiple times throughout the entire project. So you end up going through that manual, tedious process multiple times. So that's where this View Creator tool really shines, where it comes in. It's part of the Revit Express tools, the BIM project suite that CTC offers. And it's actually one of the paid tools, but not a lot of people know. If you go onto their website and you install the trial, it is a free 14-day trial, I believe. And you get access to all of the tools. There's a set of free tools and a set of paid for tools within that trial. You get access to all of them for the 14 days. And then following the 14 days, those free tools actually continue to work. And those free tools, there's actually a lot of really useful tools within that as well. But you get a chance to try out all of them, including this one that I'm about to show you. So the View Creator tool actually allows users to quickly and consistently create the views. And it'll even automatically name them based on different combinations of your level names, your view templates and phases. You can mix and match how you want it named, if you want it in a different order, whatever fits your naming convention. And it actually even supports workflows that require dependent and duplicate views. So for example, if you have enlarged views, it will work with those as well. So let's actually jump into Revit, and I can walk you through how this tool actually works. I've just got a basic, this is essentially a template that I've created. It's a starter project that I use as a template. So you can see I've got some generic views in here. Not a lot of them, no schedules, no sheets, just a really bare bones starter project. So what we can actually do is we'll go to our elevations here. See, I've got a few elevations, but let's say, maybe I'm working on a multi-story building. So as an architect, you would probably come in here and move your views. Let's say we'll go up and we'll add 2 more levels. So I'll just move this up 20 feet. And then I will copy and paste these views in here. And I'll just 3rd floor, put that at 20 feet. And we'll make this the 4th floor. And we'll put that at 30 feet. You know, this is probably, as an architect, this is the workflow you'd probably follow. As a engineer or, you know, a structural designer, you may come in here and have your architectural model linked in, and you would copy monitor these levels, or even create your own levels. But essentially, that is your typical workflow to create additional levels. One thing I don't actually see a lot of people mention is the view creator can actually create the levels as well as all the other views. So you can see here, I've got all my levels listed here that are in the project. And it even shows these elevations, but I can actually go in here and let's say I need to add a 5th floor, and we'll put that at 40 feet. And then we add a 6th, if I can type, floor, and we'll put that at 50 feet. And then we can actually, from within here, also change these elevations. So of course, I'll need to move my roof and my parapet up as well. So I'll go ahead and change that roof to 60 feet, 0 inches. And we will go through and make this 64 feet, 0 inches. And so if I come down here, I can now hit create update levels. You'll see 2 levels were created and 2 were updated. So the 5th and 6th floor that I made, and the 2 that were updated, the roof and the parapet. And then if I close this, come back here, you can see those levels actually were created and these were moved up. So you can actually use this view creator tool to not only create those views, but also create those levels. Let me take a step back though, and kind of walk through the basic user interface of this tool. When you install the BIM project suite, you'll get these tools up here under a CTC software tab. You can see I've got multiple suites installed. Yours may actually look a little bit different, and that's a setting that you can choose. You can choose to have all these free tools in the lighter color grouped under one tab, or you can have them all laid out here. I prefer this because I can see all of the tools I have, but you may prefer something different. So let's walk through this user interface. You have most of your CTC tools are very similar in their layout for the user interface. You've got the tool that opens up, you've got this drop-down menu, and this drop-down menu actually has a lot of these same buttons that are across the top here. So we'll just talk through those real quick. This view creator tool specifically has a set phase abbreviations option, where you can come in here and say that you don't actually want it to spell out existing whenever you use these phases or new construction. You can come in here and set a specific abbreviation, and you can also tell it whether you want it to use that abbreviation or not. And then you've got your options. You can see is right here at the top: help, videos, support, and about. This will give you information. The about tab will give you information about what version you're running, if it needs updates, things like that. You can always contact support if you're having any issues with maybe the tool's not working properly. You've got access to videos that'll send you to their YouTube channel, where you can see some other webinars, you can see some other workflows, things like that. You've got your help kind of user manual sort of for the tool, and it will walk you through how it works. And you've got your options, which are settings specifically for this tool. So like this one has, remember size and position of the main window. If you resize this tool or you place it somewhere, maybe you place it on a different monitor, the next time you open it, it will remember where you had it and how big you had it, and it will pop up in that same location at that same size. You can designate what separators you want, whether you want spaces before or after them. You can specify whether or not to refresh certain tabs simply by checking and unchecking these here. Let's talk about a couple of these other ones that are on here that are not across the top. There's the request feature. This is in nearly all of the CTC tools. If there's something on here that maybe you want, maybe you think could work a little bit better, or maybe a certain feature that could speed up the process, you can always request it, and this will actually specifically send those requests straight to CTC. They review them regularly, and something you may want may get added to the tool. You can also report bugs if something's not working like it should, or something's missing, something breaks. You can report those as well using that option. And then you've got your suite licensing. So maybe you need to come back after you've installed the free trial and you decided that you wanted to purchase. You can come back and activate those licenses through there. And then the exit simply closes the tool. So let's just walk through these tabs real quick across the top. We've already kind of looked at the levels. That this tab is where you're going to place all those levels, be able to name them, set the elevations, and then at the end, after you've added all of them that you want to create, you have the create and update levels button at the bottom. This is kind of your okay or your apply that you would actually have in your Revit. If you were creating something in Revit, that's kind of your apply button to actually go ahead and do that. Whereas while you're going through here, it's not making them quite yet. It's just allowing you to set everything that you want created. You have to hit the create update button to actually make everything go in. And then you've got a plan ceiling tab. This is where you're going to create all your floor plans and your ceiling plans. You have the ability to create elevation views. You can create those dependent views. I briefly mentioned earlier, this does support duplicate view and dependent view workflows. You can also see here there is a duplicate views tab. You can use this to create schedules, create sheets and title blocks, and set title blocks to certain sheets. You can even use this with work sharing and work sets, create views based on certain work sets. Again, the duplicate views. And then you can actually here see a list of all of your views that are in the project and apply specific view templates to those views. So we've already created our levels. Let's actually get started on creating some of these views. So you can see here you have the option to filter by discipline. You can also set view type filters so that if you only want to create ceiling plans, or if you only want to create 3D views, so on, you can filter those. Over here on the left, you can see my levels that I've created. And then you have the level name and an abbreviation. You can actually set these. So I know, for example, one of the annoying things about Revit is that it typically organizes everything alphabetically. So as you can see here, if I set this to organize alphabetically, we have the 5th floor comes before the 1st floor, and then the 4th floor, and then the roof and the seconds above that, and so on. That doesn't make much sense. And like logically, it makes sense because it's alphabetical, but it doesn't make much sense for the type of work that we're doing here. And so you can actually set these abbreviations numerically so that I know my 5th floor is 05, set my 6th floor to 06. We will fix the 4th floor because I copied those, and the 1st and 2nd already had abbreviations. These will have to be modified. And then the 3rd floor. So now I can organize this by abbreviation. I didn't put anything for the parapet because typically we're not going to make a view for the parapet. But it is a level that we include in our projects. And then we've got our abbreviations for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and roof. And it's actually in numerical order, even though the name is in text, in alphabetical text. So I know I'm going to need a floor plan, every type of plan for all of my floors. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then probably the roof. And then we'll come over here. So we've got that setting. These are the floors that we're going to create views for. And then you can see over here in my view templates, I have some view templates created in this project. You'll probably have a lot more. These are just some generic ones. But I do know, say for if this is a new construction project, I'm going to need code plans for all of my floors. I know I'm going to need a finish plan, our general floor plan for new construction. And let's say I'm going to add some presentation views also for our users. This would be a new construction project in my example. So I'm going to set a phase for new construction. I want to check that so that I know that I create the views with the new construction phase. I can set an abbreviation if I want to, but we typically don't use new construction abbreviations. We don't label our views as new construction. So I can actually turn that off. And so when I create these views, it will not include new construction in the name. I can come down here and set prefixes if I want to, and I can organize how I want this named. So I'm going to start with the level. I want it to start with these numbers, and then we'll do the view template. So I know that I am, it's going to be code plan. Again, over here with the same thing with the abbreviation throughout all of them. This is what it's going to use to name our levels or name our views is what is in the abbreviation. So I'm going to have 01 code plan, finish plan, floor plan, presentation plan. And they're going to create all of those for new construction, but I don't want it to use that abbreviation. So it's actually just not going to put anything here. But this would be the order that it makes that view. So if I hit add, you'll see this populate down here. These are all the views that I have essentially queued to be created. Let's say, for example, maybe this was actually a renovation project. Now that I've created all the ones that I want for new views, now I need to go through and add my existing views. I can go ahead and do all of that, maybe change just so I have existing instead of general. I still want to do it for all the same floors, and I don't need to do it for new construction anymore. I just need to do it for existing. I like to have that spelled out in my views at least, and I don't necessarily, I do want it included so that I can have it, I can see which ones are existing, which ones are not, which ones are new construction. So if I go ahead and add these as well, you'll see those got added to our queue. And then all I have to do is hit create views, and we'll let this take a second to create them. And then you'll see you'll get this pop-up that tells you plan view created. It created 56 and there were no issues. If I close this, you can come over here and see my floor plans have been created. And this is all organized based on my browser organization I have set up for this template. But you can see it's now created all those code plans, all those finish plans, all those floor plans, and all those presentations. If I go to my floor plan and look at the properties, you can see it's even applied that template. This is so much faster than your typical workflow, which would be to go through your view tab, go to plan views, create a floor plan, and then once you have your first floor plan, right click, duplicate view, either duplicate with a with detailing or without, change the floor, the elevations that are associated with it, and then that's just to create one view. You have to keep doing that for each other view that you want to do. This tool speeds that up significantly, as you can see. So Troy asks a good question. He asked about how does it work for under floor plans? So there's a couple different ways you could do that, just depending on how you want them labeled in your project. He specifically mentioned that they never put it in the correct order. Whereas if you created that level, so say if I come in here and I say, you'll have to excuse me, I don't, I'll just call it maybe datum, right? So maybe that is 10 feet under. And I will add that level. If I go in here real quick. Did I not? Let me check that again. Looks like I did not actually add that level. Let me do that again. 10 minus 10 feet, 0 inches. We'll create update levels. See level created. Come in here, we see that is there. And then I can come back into my view creator and plan ceiling, the abbreviations. Maybe that under floor plan, you know, we want that in that correct order. You know, Troy mentioned that's part of his issue with it. I can set that abbreviation to 00 or maybe something before 01. And then when I organize it by abbreviation, it shows that is going to come in order before the first floor. I can come in here and I can make those code plans, finish plan, general presentation, new construction, add, create views. And now you can see I have that 00 plan, that under floor plan is in the correct order. I hope that answers your question, Troy. And if it does, I will go ahead and move on. And we'll talk about some of the other views that you can create with this tool. So I know I mentioned before that we can do this with dependent and duplicate views as well. So for example, let's say I go to my first floor plan. As an architect, maybe you would draw your building layout. So I'll just draw something real quick. And this actually also will work. You know, maybe I often see a lot of buildings with maybe some slight angle. So I'll put this part maybe about 5 degrees. We'll just quickly draw some walls here. So let's say that's our general building layout, right? If you're an engineer or maybe another discipline, you're likely have this linked in and you're going to copy or mimic the scope boxes that the architect has for your dependent views. This would be for maybe doing some area plans, or if you have a fairly large building. So let me just draw some of these scope boxes. So let's say I'm just doing an area A, B, C, D, and E. And we're going to overlap them a little bit. Match that angle I just grabbed. Oops. Give it some overlap. And then we'll add one more scope box here. Okay, so each area you can see has been labeled. Oops, scope box 2. Let's actually change this. So we've got all our areas laid out. If we were to do some enlarged views, again, if you were the engineer, you probably wouldn't be drawing this. You'd probably be copying it or mimicking what the architect does, or the provided existing building model that you have. But we can come in here, once all of that has been set up, come in here in View Creator. And again, you know, this would typically be super tedious because you have to create each of those views and duplicate them all one by one by one, set the view templates one by one, and it just takes so much time. So if I come in here and say we want to, I'm actually going to, instead of duplicating to create my master or enlarged views, I'm going to go ahead and create them as entirely new views, just because this works a little bit better this way, not necessarily the way that you have to go. But let's say I want to do an enlarged floor plan so that I know that I have a master and we're doing new construction because those are going to be the ones that we're using. I'm going to add a suffix of master, or you can even do enlarged, whatever makes sense for your workflow and your naming convention. But I know I want them for all the floors. I want that view template, and I only need the new construction for now. You can easily add the existing in addition to what you're doing with it. You can see these are all queued up. And I'll hit create views. No issues, created all those views. Let me close this for a moment, pull up my project browser so we can see all of those. And then once you have those starting views, those what it's based off of, then we can come in here and we can create dependent views off of those. Create dependent views, you can see all these are listed through here. You can set it by phase. Maybe you only want to see the existing ones to filter through, speed up your selection a little bit, maybe only have certain view templates visible, which if I do that, you'll see here only those master ones show up that I just made. Makes it a little bit easier to work through. So if I come through here and I say, I want all of these, you can see area A, B, C, D, and E were all created. It recognizes that I have those scope boxes so that I can create the views with those scope boxes set. So if I hit create dependent views, you'll see I've created 35 views, no issues. And you'll see over here in my project browser, I now have A, B, C, D, E, all for that first floor. Same for the second floor, third floor, and these are all dependent views off of that. That's why they're in a drop down underneath that original master or enlarged view. Again, you would have had to one by one right click, create dependent, rename, right click, create dependent, rename, and then on top of that, add all of your view templates. This tool has already done all of that for me. So now you've got all of those views. If we take a look at one of them, you can see area A for that second floor. It's showing just that area with that scope box of A set to it. Scope box area A. I'll go back into View Creator. So we've talked about the plan views, the dependent views. Let's actually take a look at these elevation views as well. So if I go back to my floor plan, let me go ahead and move these out a little bit just to reflect our building that we have now drawn in here, our quote unquote building. But let's say you have, maybe you've gone through and you've created all these elevations, or you only need the 4 Cartesian directions. Personally, I'd probably have a few more, maybe one here for each wall, maybe a couple of them on the long walls, but you would typically need several elevations. As an architect, you'll probably have lots of interior elevations for different rooms, so on and so forth. You can also use this view creator tool to duplicate those elevations that you have for your existing. So we have all of the east, northwest, and south. We've already have the new construction ones created. That's part of our template. But maybe we need those elevations for existing as well to show maybe some demo or something to that effect. I check all those boxes. Of course, you can also set your filters so that if you're looking for something that contains, maybe you've already set interior, you can filter through those pretty quickly. Same with how you would do the dependent views. But I'll go ahead and hit create elevation views here. Created 4 views, no issues. Then come back here in my project browser under my existing dropdown, elevations, and you can see that those elevations have now been created with the suffix of existing. This can even be used to create schedules. Now, I know when I was going through the tabs, you likely saw here, no schedule found in active project. Well, we can't duplicate schedules if we don't have any schedules in the project already. So if I just go ahead and say, maybe let's just make a generic room schedule. Do rooms, we'll just leave it named room schedule, new construction, okay. Let's see, maybe probably need number, name, maybe we'll do some finishes, wall finish, ceiling finish, base finish, area, however you want to set it up. You can create your schedule there. So now that I've got a schedule, I can come in here and I can actually use the view creator to create additional schedules. If you're working with a large building or similar to how we have all of these areas, maybe we want to break it up by area. I can come in here and I can go to my schedules. I've only got one that show up. Let's go ahead and do it per level, right? So each of my floors that I have, I want a separate room schedule for. You have your typical filter that you have the same with all the other tabs and the ability to check all as you need. So if I hit create schedules, you'll see it creates 8 schedules, no issues. And now I can come in here. If I close this, I now see that I have a room schedule for every floor. So for example, if you're working on a huge, maybe a hotel, hospital with lots of floors, lots of rooms, you can break that up into multiple schedules pretty quickly. And then we can even do stuff with sheets. So similar to the schedules, I don't have any sheets yet. Let me go ahead and make one. Give it a generic title block. You can come in here into view creator. There's a sheets title blocks tab. You can see my sheet is in here and it has that title block assigned to it. I can add sheets individually. Say maybe I need a second floor plan. Since I've already got A101, we'll do A102. And then when I hit process, we'll go ahead and add that sheet. No problems. We'll come over here to sheets. Ignore that for a moment. You can see here it created it, applied the title block. We can even use this to batch create sheets. If I go back to that tab, I can do batch add sheets. And all I need to do is type the name for the sheet that I want. And then I set the title block. So we'll go with that one. If I do third floor, fourth floor, fifth. Maybe I need a roof in the datum. But you can see all I had to do is type those in here. It creates a list hit OK, and they've all been added here to this list where I can change sheet numbers, and I can, if I hit process, you'll see it created those 6 and adds those sheets down here. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth roof and datum. If I go back into View Creator, we've talked about the levels, plans, elevations, dependent schedules, sheets. You also have the ability to do work sets. I don't have these set up in this project simply because this is just a basic template, and so we don't have work sharing enabled. But here you would be able to create views based on your work sets. So an example, in MEP, we usually have a plumbing work set. We have electrical work sets, we have mechanical work sets, and then some of those are even divvied up. So plumbing may be broken up into domestic water, vent, waste, maybe architectural's got some furniture work sets, some standard geometry, maybe some finish work sets, so on and so forth. You can break up your views into that. So using this view creator, you can create those views that only show a certain work set without having to right click and do all your view templates and do all of those different things. You have the ability to just straight duplicate views, and you can create as many duplicates as you want. You can set your view settings for if you want to do it with detailing or as a dependent, you want to add prefixes and suffixes. And then you have the option to do view templates. So for example, I have this drafting view. If you want to do these, apply these view templates on a one-on-one basis, all you have to do is simply grab the view from the left side and drag and drop it onto the view template on the right side. So for example, I have this drafting view. Maybe I want to apply, let's see, this 3D presentation. Grab it, drag and drop. Now it shows up as a view with that template. So these are all the views that have elevation. These are all the views that have code plan as their view template. So as you can see, there's a lot of power in this tool and a lot of ability to make lots of views. If we come over here and just look at all the views that I've created in this roughly 45-minute so far presentation, I mean, just think about how long that would take you to manually create these views. So that really is, I know it's a lot, but that is all that there is to this tool. Just kind of reflect on it. This tool significantly speeds up that process. That tedious, manual, time-consuming process saves you a ton of time that you can spend for doing other things, maybe improving your design, or if there's comes back with value engineering. This allows you to speed up this process and save a lot of time that you can use for more important things. Like I showed you, it automatically names these views, so you don't have to right click, name these views, and a view has to have a unique name, so you don't run into those issues of you didn't create a unique name, now you have to start over. And this even supports those workflows that rely on your dependent and duplicate views. So you can quickly create those views as well. So with that, if there are any questions, I would love to open up the floor. You guys can drop those in the chat or in the question and answer. I do want to say thank you for your time. If you think of any questions later, you can feel free to email me. I will do my best to find an answer for you. And just so you guys know, we do post regularly on LinkedIn and YouTube. different workflows, maybe events that are coming up, things to that effect. So please check out our social media and subscribe. This webinar will also be available in a few days on YouTube if you want to come back and reference it or maybe share with some of your peers. So again, thank you for your time. I will stick around for a few minutes if you guys have any question. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy your holidays and have a great day. Thank you again.